There we go.
All right. Well, welcome. Well, I know it's been a minute,
Yeah, like
but
months.
yeah, but
maybe
we
like
have some excuses. We know
maybe
I
like
had a freshman to graduate. I mean, I'm sorry, a senior to graduate now. She in her freshman year. Everybody that knows what's going on with senior year stuff. And volleyball became something we just had to put in the back. Dame had transitions going on as well.
I,
But
I,
welcome,
I don't blame me.
welcome. It's your boy Spurge and my volleyball guru. That's for your leading man, your volleyball
Hey,
guru.
I'll be that. Hey, and this is Dane. Hey, it's been so long, man. We don't even remember our cues anymore, but we're back.
Exactly. So it's the Volleyball Dad podcast, and you know, they said we're a little lighthearted show. Somebody said we're right now, but guess what? We just come in and have. But yeah, we do have fun.
Yeah,
We let
we have fun.
people say what they want to say on our show.
Yeah,
But if you have something to email us about, want to have a topic you want us to talk about, a question like y'all have, Volleyball Dads Podcast at gmail.com is how you find us on X, Vball Dads. Where they can find us on Instagram, D.
Volleyball Dads podcast on YouTube's Volleyball Dads podcast, and we're on Facebook, Volleyball Dads.
Yeah, yeah. So find us on Facebook. So we all are and shout out to those Facebook moms because we get a little content from y'all once in a while, And I will say this: being anonymous, you got something to say, just go ahead and say it.
Put
I
your name
understand.
on
No, we kind of can,
it.
but hey, we always have a lovely, great guest hosts, people to come back and banter with us and talk about a little bit. But we got another what I call super volleyball dad in the building. He's
Yep.
got two girls already headed, well, one in D1, one headed to D1, and the little one, my little favorite, because I know her, she gonna be a D1 superstar too. But with that, Femi Bello, and y'all gonna know that name
What's
Bello for a
what's up,
long
fellas?
time here because of
Yep.
these this he still got me and Damon shipped off our last ones. Introduce yourself, Femi.
Yeah, appreciate the introduction. Hey, everybody, Femi Bello here, volleyball dad, like these gentlemen. Uh, Had three girls, three amazing girls. Two of them, one of them's been is in college now, like Spurge, just graduated high school and freshman year in
Yeah.
college.
Shit.
Uh, yeah, it was Rice at Rice. She's playing volleyball at Rice. Then I got a junior
You had to think about it,
who
huh?
just committed. Yeah, I had to think about it. Junior who just committed because they just literally just started school. So I'm still thinking sophomore, but she's a junior now. Just committed to Kansas. Uh,
Congrats.
yeah,
Congrats. Yeah,
appreciate it.
right.
We that was
Kansas.
yeah, that was a very exciting time. And so yeah. So got those two playing. Youngest one is really a baby, so she just got started at club volleyball. Yeah.
All right.
So
All
that's
right,
that's it.
man.
Yeah, that's a little bit about my background volleyball wise.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you're true volleyball dad. So
You are.
Femi and I, my daughter, they played together. Um, I think I'm a little biased, but I think at one point in time, the two best setters in the city probably were them two.
What was
And
that,
somebody
13s or
had to mess that
14s?
up.
Was
But we
that
gonna move
13s or
on.
14s?
They were 13s and 14s, yeah.
13s and
And
14s. Yeah.
15s,
Oh, 15s too? Okay.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 13, 14s, and 15s, etc.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
you know, to the top says in the state. I said it. And somebody had messed it up. And I said that too twice. Anyway,
This guy.
Oh man. Oh man.
exactly. Shoot. Hey, I ain't in club no
Hey,
more.
so Finney, when
Yes.
you having three girls in the space, how did you get
Mhm.
into the volleyball space in the first place? Like being a dad in a house with all women, how did you even like,
Yep.
what got you started with volleyball?
That's a
What's the
great
backstory?
question. Great
Yeah.
question. So the backstory. Looking for something for the girls to do.
Yeah.
Just outside of just sitting around and so we started off at the YMCA like everybody else. Let's go see what they could do.
Everybody starts with
And
my mistake.
it was clear as day from first couple of like as soon as we showed up, these kids are not quite as athletic as you guys are. You're standing out way too much. This doesn't
Right.
happen because you look like a hero amongst zeros. So I'm like, so we did that, played through this season, but we already knew we're like we got to try something else, and so
Right.
we ended up at Sci-Fair Sports Association, which is like a level up. I mean, they're better than the Y, but it still was clear as day that this is still not your level.
Right.
Like you running circles around these kids and you don't know what you're doing. So at that point,
Right.
it was like, okay, so what's the next level? And the great thing about it is there's always people in circles that tell you what the next level looks like. So there was some parents in there that were like, you guys should try club. And we've never heard about club.
Mm,
And so we got to club, and it was at that point where we're like, okay, this looks more like it.
right.
Because now you're not sticking out. You're not the best. You got people on here that are just as good as you guys. And that was originally New Age Volleyball
Okay.
was where we started off at. Yeah, yeah. And they
With
both
Tim. Yeah.
Yeah,
with
shout
Tim
out to
Pledger.
Tim out there.
Yeah,
Shout out
shout
to
out to
Tim.
Tim. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And great, coach. From a mindset perspective, from a volleyball perspective, he just really instilled a lot of like discipline early,
Hmm.
early. I'm talking about like my younger one was 8 at the time, and the other
Yeah.
one was 9 out of 10. And so it was just like they got that early on.
Right.
And so we were there for a while, and then we showed up one season. He didn't have enough girls. Had to find somewhere else. Small club, didn't have
Yeah.
enough on the team, and then we ended up at Fast. Actually, we went to Skyline first, Houston Skyline, and they tried out for both teams. And I think at the time, no, we went to Fast first. Or did we? No, 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 no. We went to Skyline. Anyway, they put one of them on the 11s and they put the other one on the 12s. And I knew at that point, I knew my younger one was able to play on 12s. I'm like, nah, let's try somewhere else.
Right.
And so we ended up at HJV and Houston Juniors, put them both on the same team. It's just more convenient for us. I mean, it's 12s volleyball. And they like, and the younger one was quick enough. She was little, real little, but she was fast enough to play. And that's how we started.
Yeah.
And then we progressed. We went from we played that one season together, and then COVID hit,
Mm,
and so that
Hmm.
was a short season. Yeah, yeah, yes, that was a
Yeah.
short season. But team was great, and then obviously following that, they had to obviously break up and start playing on separate teams, and we were with it ever since. The one thing I will say though is early on, and with every tryout, and I think I credit the wife for this. She always like looked out to see what is your trajectory. She looked at my oldest one and she was like, "You only 8 tall. You hitting right now. That's a pipe dream." I'm looking at the girls older than you, and the hitters don't look like your size. So we got to transition you into a position where you could play. Switch to being a setter. That's how that started. And luckily, she had beautiful hands, great setter. So we just kind of stuck with that. Similar situation happened with the younger one. Looking at her size, we're like, look, dude, you want to be in the back row. They don't, you jump in the hit right now, but this is 12s volleyball. Let's be realistic. But a lot has changed in volleyball.
hmm
with pins not being quite as big.
hmm
Games getting a little faster. So I think it was 13s because she played up the whole time until she got to about age 13, no 14. And so at that point, she was kind of jumping out the gym. And even though she was a libero, she stretched out a little bit, got a little taller, not tall, but taller. And she would swing it in practices, and it was just like she was hitting harder than anybody else on the team. She was probably the fastest one on the team. And at that point, there was a coach that pulled me to the side of my wife and told her, she said she needs to swing. And I said, well, she's libero right now. She's like, well, you need to go talk to her and let him know she needs to be the hitter. And I was like, well, she's this side. She's like, look, go talk to them. If they don't let her hit, you take her somewhere else because she needs to swing. I was like, best advice ever. Because so what we did at that point was we approached administration. We're like, look, this is what she wants to do. And they said, well, she can, but she's gonna have to play her age. We're like, cool. She's playing up anyway. Let's go see if she can handle it. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Literally,
No,
literally, literally.
Yeah,
You've seen her
yeah,
we've
the
been
younger to
watching
grow
her
as much. Yeah.
ever since, man. And that arm is $1 million arm. And I'll tell
appreciate
you
it, appreciate it.
who she reminded me of
Yeah,
because of her size. And this kid played at Pitt, and so it's a similar situation. And her name was, and she's playing professionally now too. Was Lecator member Mena. I don't know if anyone has ever
yeah,
seen that.
yeah. I do know her. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
her. Yep,
So
yep.
that you know that again, if a kid can apply their athleticism and move their shots and understand that and see the blocks, hey, why limit
Yeah,
it? And like you said,
yeah,
the game is faster.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you got middles that are 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot.
yeah,
And so it's just a matter of what the kid is putting into when they're in the gym. And we've watched them from afar. And even your daughter as a setter, I mean, they've had to have her swing too at
yeah,
times
yeah,
because
yeah,
of
yeah.
how things were structured and
Hmm.
having that background, it worked. So, the same
Yeah,
with Spurs daughter. So, I mean, it's good you listen, but and I find it intriguing how people's journey is and
yeah.
how they go through things
Hmm.
so you did listen
Yeah, yeah.
and
And I think we always did an evaluation every season for tryouts. As much as the club is looking at you as a player, we're looking at what they have as options.
right,
And so when you do that type of homework and you're like, okay, I feel like this kid is coming over. I feel like that kid's coming over. Oh, you look at who's in the gym at tryouts. You can kind of tell you're like, you might not get a shot.
right.
So you want to do that before the club even makes that decision for you, in my opinion. And I feel like that's where a lot of people kind of get disappointed
Hmm.
is, they want you all to come in and they want to make you feel like you got a chance, but you have to know,
Right,
like you do your own homework on yourself and you kind of do your own self-evaluation. And I know, I mean, it sucks sometimes because you're just like, yeah, there's no way for me to play here. Like I
right.
can't beat out anybody that I'm looking at. And so if that's the case, what do you expect them to do?
But,
You know?
but
So we
what
didn't we
about
didn't
this?
live in that delusional world is what I like to call it. We were doing our own test before they got a chance to even say, "Oh yeah, she should be on this team," or "Yeah, she
Right.
should be on this team."
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, and that there's a
And that,
very,
mm,
very fine line with that. I'm not gonna say fine
mm,
line
hmm
because this is where you start getting into those muddy waters, so to
yeah,
speak, where things, you know, hey, did this person come over and slide a couple of more bucks or something like that to get their kid looked at because they may have been
yeah,
at another place on a second
hmm
team, and so
hmm
and these clubs, I don't I don't know, they kind of battle one another, so to speak,
yeah,
kind of sort of for
yeah,
kids, and so I think sometimes they do stuff out of spite and really don't be thinking about the kid,
Mhm.
his best interest or even the best interest for the team because people always talk about fits and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you got a competitive, most of these kids that are playing at that level are very competitive anyway.
right, right.
And so, as coaches, you got to figure out how to manage those different competitive personalities and stuff like that.
No,
But
I agree. I agree. I mean, you control what you can. There's always going
yeah,
to be politics. There's
yeah,
always
Yeah.
going to be politics. There's always going to be favoritism. But I feel like, if you have if if you have the skills
hmm,
and if you're good enough, I feel like you can kind of transcend that, at least to get in the door.
yeah,
Whatever happens after that is that's all down to you just working hard. But I'm just saying, like at a surface level,
yeah,
I feel like you control what you can because there's gonna be times where it don't matter what you do or how you perform. They already pick somebody else over you,
yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
control that. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
politics of the game,
It
you
is.
know. And I think some
And
of that
that's where,
is
yeah.
it can be challenging for people, but I think in a way it's kind of the nature of what it's gonna be like at the next level. So you're just getting a taste of what's coming,
That's
you know.
absolutely 100%
So
at the
yeah,
next level.
so
I mean,
We hear about it so much more, not in club, but it's funny seeing some of the high school chat around it because high school is a whole nother different political cycle to some degree,
hmm
philosophy
hmm
to some
hmm
degree.
hmm
People, it's everything from who's in Texas here. For those who are national audience, we have this magazine called Vite, and sometimes it's an issue who's going to be on the Vite cover, or who's going to be on the Vite, school picture, etc.
Yeah.
And some people say I'm gonna put my seniors. Some people
Right.
say I'm gonna put my captain. Some people say I'm gonna take two people. Some five. And so it becomes this things of this one little magazine becomes a big kind of political, football around, and I don't know in volleyball right now, right? Of who's and even and high schools, right? High school coaches sometimes have a different agenda than your club coach will. Some
Some
of
are
them
booster
just want to
club
get a group of girls to
driven.
plays. Someone want to do it by, hey, who's been here longest, and wait your turn kind of thing because they know they got you for 4 years and you can play. Others want to put you in different positions because where they may need if they're a smart coach, all those different things. So I hear a lot from parents and some of these emails we get about high school so much, and we try to focus more on, hey, high school's for fun, you know, but you need to really get in a good club system. Excuse me, one to learn and two just to grow. But as we're seeing more and more, actually, high school coaches who are also coaching club, we are
Hmm.
seeing some transformation at the high school level as well. But and
Well,
also
yeah.
in high school, you don't get to pick your teammates. It's whoever's in
No,
in the
no,
in the
no.
neighborhood, buddy.
And
That's
if
who's
you're
showing
lucky
up.
if the entire team
Speaking of which,
plays
you Shout
club.
Creek Sharks out there, shout out to those. As they
Well,
say, quiet on the creek. I always
well,
want to
I
shout
know,
out to the high school
I
Shout
noticed
Creek.
that when you got on.
but in some instances, when like the Shadow Creeks and the Cy Ranches and the Woodlands and stuff like that, who are perennially talented every year,
Mhm.
I think those coaches care a little bit, and they may have a little more of a backstory. And you guys can speak to it more. Is there a little bit more politics in the high school space?
I don't know about more. Well, maybe. Because
I think
I
it's
think
more because I think it's when you. Now I'll let you talk about. I'm
I
curious
don't
what you
know.
say why you think it's
I
more.
think I think it depends. I think it depends. I think a lot of it because I think in high school there is more this push to the returners versus somebody coming in new.
Mhm.
Whereas with club, there isn't as much of that because they're turning over like almost every other season, depending on how
Right.
good the team is. School, I feel like there's more of a, oh, I've had this girl before, even though you look like a new shiny toy, I kind of still trust this other person, even when in some instances it's clear as day that this person coming in, it might be better. But you're
Right.
like, I kind of, so there's a lot more catering to girls who've been there versus the new. You kind of really have to earn your stripes. So I feel like that's when a lot of the politics come in because sometimes it's not making a whole lot of sense as to why they're doing that. But you're like, okay, well, I guess she is a senior, or she is, and this one's this is an upperclassman versus the other one that isn't. So I think when it comes to that, yes, absolutely. If they've been in a program, they're getting, especially if it's not glaring,
Yeah.
Mhm.
skill
Yeah,
set
yeah, yeah,
difference. If
yeah,
it's
yeah,
close,
yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
might as well just
Let- let-
eat the bench for a little bit, and the person will be gone before you, and then you get your turn.
but it is until it comes back to bite you. And it and
And
it
that
and it always in pivotal moments comes back to bite you. I've watched
yeah.
it, I've seen it. Um, you know, one of the things they always try and tell us observers, even though we've been involved in sports, and so if you have any type of intellect, you can pick up on things relatively quickly. And
Hmm.
so they're quick to tell you, well, this is not what you do. So how can you tell me? And I'm okay with that. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
okay with that. But also, just like in the spaces that we're in, people make mistakes.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and I mean, it happens. And so people do have agendas at times.
yeah,
They can say that they're impartial, cool. Whatever works for you and make you sleep well at night, if that's the case. And so obviously for the people who are on the right side of it, and it works out perfect.
hmm
At some point, though, some form of adversity will set in. Like, even at the top kids, no matter what, whether it's an incident or whatever, where you got to deal with something and you got to show your mettle. How do you prepare your daughters to deal with adversity, um, whatever it may be? Their mental makeup, and it's good that
Yeah.
you're a strong father, your wife. So that's a positive thing, and so you're already instilling certain values and stuff like that is, but just having to kind of foreshadow and prepare them. Like you said, when you go to college,
Hmm.
you're starting over again.
Right. Right.
And so you got to figure out your way and figure out the lay of the land. And so, what are the conversations y'all are having, and how are you preparing your daughters as one who's now there, and then one who's preparing for, when that comes up, because it'll be here before you know it.
Right. That's a great question. That's a great question. And I think if I'm being, since I'll be completely honest, my opinion on that is what you do at home.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, so one of the things we used to get a lot when we transitioned, or I guess transitioned from a smaller club to a bigger club, was, coaches and coaching styles. And you talk to parents and they'll say, how does she just deal with this coach that's doing X, Y, Z? I'm like, she understands that he's doing a job. It's nothing personal, and your kids don't get down on themselves. I said, because they train a certain way and they know that if in the heat of the moment, coach feels a certain way about what you're doing, but you're better than that. So you're not buying into what's being said right there. You understand that it's an intense moment. There's some frustration, and they're letting that frustration out. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. It doesn't mean it doesn't define who you are. So
Right.
I think it always baffles me when people are trying to address a personal problem
Right.
because it shows up in volleyball. And I'm like, that's not a volleyball issue.
No.
That's an issue, period.
Right.
It's just showing up in the sport, and now you're trying to fix it, but you should have fixed that before you got to the court anyway.
Absolutely.
And so it just, because I've had people ask me all kinds of, they're like, why does this? I'm like, look, dude, if I'm being real with you, this has nothing to do with volleyball. This is just a
Absolutely.
character problem.
Yep.
If you can deal with adversity, you can deal with adversity on the volleyball court. You
Hmm.
just have to learn to deal with that in general.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's always been about, and my wife jokes about this all the time. People ask me, like, how can he deal with such and such screaming? She's like, they got to deal with me. There's
Hmm.
no coach that's going to
Right.
give them a
Right.
taste of what they've gotten from me at home. And that's a
Yeah.
fact. And
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
because of that, they're very, very, I mean, my kids got tough skin. And y'all have watched them both play.
Yeah.
It's very rare you see them break down.
Yeah.
It's very
Right.
rare you see them lose focus. And it
Right.
don't matter from coach to coach. And
Right.
and that just goes because they're totally different people.
Yeah.
One's
Mm-hmm.
more reserved, one's more outgoing. But when it comes to how they approach what it is they're doing, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. So I think for me it's how do we get them prepared is you just train your kids right from jump.
Yeah.
And it starts early. It's not when they're 12, 13. No, it
Mhm.
starts early.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think when you look at, high school club and stuff, it's a little different. High school, the coach is going to be who the coach is. Can't change much of that. And you got to work around whatever their philosophy is. And I'm saying politics that I was talking about. And just certain coaches have certain philosophy about what they're going to do on the
Yeah.
court. And as we know too, in a 20 game, 25 game season of high school ball, you probably got 8 tough matches if you're lucky,
What high school
right?
you play at? 25 games? We play like 30, 30,
Well,
39, almost
whatever it
40
is,
Because
games.
you got a bunch of
whatever it
tournaments
is,
too.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
in
I
that
know,
whole
I
thing,
know.
you still probably got
Yeah.
about 8 tough games, right? I mean, rivalry games, etc.
Right,
And so
right,
it's room to play a lot of different people, right? So, and that's I think coaches need to mind, and parents need to mind. Say, there'll be chances when your daughter will play and shine, but we've also got this nature in sports in general. Everybody wants to win. There's no secret
right.
about that. Everybody wants to win and put the best product out there, and whether your kids where you think they're average or great or better, always at some point in time somebody thinks their kids should play. Period.
Mm-hmm.
There's not
Mm-hmm.
rare. It's rarely a parent
Yeah.
sitting up there, but I've seen them on
Well,
their
all the
iPad the
time.
whole time, didn't watch nothing their kid is doing. Right?
I mean,
Didn't
But
watch one play. Didn't
yeah.
know if they got it or not. We know it's one parent. That parent is out there doing that. But pay attention to your kids, and they'll get the same enthusiasm by it. But it's tough. But in club and in high school, your coaches kind of set you know what you're walking into. When you can
Mm-hmm.
select your coach going into
Yeah.
college, right? In a
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I say select because you still have people don't believe you have a choice where you go. And it's a lot of factors in that. Me and Dave always talked about this. Is you gotta love the school you either want to go to, because the coach you never know. Every coach, listen to public service announcement to every parent, will tell you great things during the recruiting process. They will shower you with the
Part of the
beauty
job.
of,
yeah.
guess what? Your girl's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because they recruit you, and then,
Yeah.
and they would do it just like anyone else. It's the nature
Yeah.
of business and everything else we see in the real world, right? Even in club, right? They're gonna shower to get till they get you in there, and so, and the dynamic changes when they got you starting with 2 days. These girls,
Hmm.
August 1st or July 31st, life changed if you were a freshman. It was different. I
Mm-hmm.
had to tell my young daughter it was different. 2 days was different. I said, this is another step up. And
Right.
she had to quickly realize, like, wow, this is a little more intense than high school and club 2 days.
Ain't a little
This is
more.
way
It's a
more
lot more.
intense.
It's a
It
It's
lot
is
a
a
more
lot
lot.
more. It
because you're
is.
still
And
required to lift
Right.
lift,
beforehand.
yep.
You don't really have no time.
Nope. They
It's
on a rigid schedule when they eat, study hours, and school. And it's a whole different process. And so they're learning
Yeah.
that. And then the coach is no longer the nice person no more. You know, it's the coach that they drive, yes, because they want you to be your very best and getting you ready for they know a tough collegiate season. So wanted to know
Yeah.
also that transition that your older daughter doing is just similar as mine. How
It's
is
been
she
interesting.
embracing that
Yeah.
change?
Yeah. I got a funny story about that. So she had talked to uh, a teammate ahead of time just to get a feel for, are these 5 a.m. workouts real? And
yeah.
she's like, absolutely. And I don't know if y'all know, I'm a gym rat, not I'm an early bird, so
Yeah.
I usually go work out early in the morning. So she
Right.
she kind of reached out to me. I was like, you know what, I want to go with you in trying to prepare. So I kind of give her credit for that, but
Yeah. That's huge.
even that didn't get her ready. So because she did that a couple of times, but then of course she fell off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but so she gets there and it's like, they had them in a month early before the coaches showed up. And then when the coaches showed up,
Right.
it was even more intense. And the funny story is, it's I called her one evening, probably about 8:15-ish. The girl got her PJs on. I'm like, you going to bed? She's like, dude, I gotta get my rest. Like, I have to, because the days are just so jam-packed,
Hmm.
Yeah.
between team activities, working out, practices 2 a day sometimes. There's
Hmm.
just there's no time. You got to get your rest when you can. So I'm glad to see that, there's a lot of structure
Yeah.
because now you have that going on. Then you tack on school starts, here soon.
Yep.
And so it's just like, yeah, she's it's gonna be tough. It's an adjustment. It definitely is. And
Your your your
Definitely an
conversations
adjustment.
will get shorter.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes. They
yes,
will
they
get
really will.
shorter
Yeah, yeah.
as
But
well.
it's I'm looking forward to it. They got a game coming up this
Friday
Friday, and
at Texas.
I'm driving up to Austin to watch that, so I'm excited. I don't know if she'll
Yeah.
get to play, but I'm gonna be there cheering her on
She'll be
anyway.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah, yeah.
should play. It's early, man.
I'm looking
Everybody.
forward to that. I'm like, if we got a chance to play, it's now. So let me go watch before the season starts.
No, they'll play. They will. And like I said, it's a long process and all these
Yeah,
agents and
yeah,
stuff. But for parents that are transitioning into college, Dame's been there. He's had the freshman run and just understand the dynamics of that. And we're so me and you are kind of well. At least I'm learning. I'll just speak for myself and just seeing them. But it's amazing to see how these young ladies grow.
Yep.
hmm
And
hmm
it's just to me, it's just so different to see some of the maturity and things you didn't wouldn't concept about and how they handle situations And it's one, and all of you know too. You know, whether I talk to referees, coaches, or what all the time, etc. This is the first time I've not even said nothing to this coach. Don't talk to this
There's,
coach. That's
there's
what we
nothing
want to
to say.
do. And
There's
nothing to say
nothing
because
to
I'm like,
say.
hey,
Yes.
at the end of the day, they're yours now, you know.
Yes.
And you're right,
Yeah.
it goes back to what you train them through and give them over and
Mm,
stuff. And as parents, you know, we've got to learn to just sit back and trust. I hate to say trust the
yeah.
process, right? But you know, going through it as well is just like, but you don't want to leave your kid alone, right, Dame? I mean, in a sense, you
Mm,
got to be able to still listen to them,
Yeah.
make sure you're understanding what they're if they're going through
mm,
stuff and how to deal with
yeah.
it because
Yeah.
it is a new environment for them. And you know, whether we've all been, you know, high school athletes and college athletes, we know it's different. And I told day one, 2 days, oh,
Yeah.
ain't no joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
No, it
mean,
ain't. It
the
ain't.
advice you give them though when they go and prepare for the 2 days. Well, first of all, you ask them, this is what you signed up for, so you know that. So that's the expectation from the beginning. But you also tell them, you know, set some goals and have some expectations for yourself. Like just
Mm,
because you're a freshman don't mean you got to wait.
that's
You push
true.
that person. You drive.
Mm-hmm.
You make
Mm-hmm.
you make the decision, the choice the coach have to make so hard. That way
That's
that
true.
you'll know in your heart, okay, that person earned it.
Yeah,
If you go in there resigned with the mindset, all right, well, I got time because I'm a freshman, you're
yeah,
gonna forever be behind the eight ball because they're constantly recruiting
yeah,
every
You
year.
know,
Like that's the difference between college and club. In college, every year they're trying to get better, especially depending on how their season ended. So they're
mm-hmm.
looking for pieces to improve their team. And so with the portal and stuff like that, they have those conversations. You have just like you do a review with your boss. They do the same thing with these kids, and
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
is truly a it's end of the year meeting. Now obviously if you got numbers and stuff like that, that weighs in your favor heavily, and then you,
Right.
you realize if there was something else, and
Yeah.
kids will know, like they'll learn what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And that's when you listen, for the most part, because as parents, we try to tell them, because, objective is this is a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. And so you're going into it choosing what you want to do for the rest of your life, because you're going to wear heels, in our case, we got girls, much longer than you wear those gym shoes. And so that you're using this for that. And so you got to think about why you're there. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
there. They're getting their sweat equity out of you, but you're getting what you need to out of that. It's a win-win. It's not one-sided. And
Right.
so you got to
yeah,
take
because
full advantage of it. Then you show them those fee sheets
right.
of what it would cost if you wasn't using your sweat equity versus that you are, and you're not having to go wait in line, your classes and all that kind of stuff. So the benefits that you
There's a
have from
lot of
those things.
perks. A
Yeah,
lot
all
of
those
perks.
perks.
I
So
mean, one thing that jumped out to me when right after she got recruited and in senior year in high school was just, having conversations with classmates and how they were struggling with, what they were having to do for applications and all this other stuff with getting
yeah.
prepared for college. And she's just like, wow, dude, I did. I mean, I really, it's a great spot to be in. I don't have to worry about any of that.
Mhm.
And so those are the little things that even all that, like you called it, sweat equity you put into club, that's what's
Yeah,
paying off, you
yeah,
know? And
yeah,
as much as we would like to say, I think the one thing I will say, especially for our girls, is, having to play club as long as they did, and having to, there's a certain level of discipline that's already there.
Mhm.
hmm
So if you have that foundation of having to sacrifice vacation, having to sacrifice being city to city every other night, getting up, going to compete, there's a certain level of discipline for you to show up and be ready, that you have that baseline foundation. Now,
Mhm.
college is going to add a whole lot more to that, but if you don't even have that baseline, we
hmm
don't have nowhere to start from.
Right.
So you have that foundation of, you know what, I know how to handle being somewhere and being dedicated and putting in the work because I've done it. Do I
Mhm.
want to eat? Now it's time to stack up on that. So I think they have just playing club, competitive, open volleyball.
Right.
If that don't get you ready, like at a base level, then nothing's gonna get you ready.
Yeah.
You know.
You
So yeah.
prepared, we look at the whole season roster. I mean, and like, and where my daughter's at, they won their championship, 3 out of 4 years, et cetera. And so it's always that target on their back though, too.
Hmm.
But it's also then this rises expectation. I know your daughter's, like I said, she's at Rice too, and and looking at the conference that y'all in as well, you know,
Yeah.
are they how do you prepare yourself for conference play? Same thing with Dame too, and over now at the ACC as well. Now you got certain teams you're focusing on, right? And you want to beat literally because at the end of the day, you want to get to that championship, you want to get to the NCAA tournament, right? And no, the easiest path is win the championship, win your conference championship, right? Or have
Hmm.
a high RPI. But you know, how are your girls preparing for that? That's what I want. I mean, do they look at also? I know everybody says, "Hey, take one game," but you also there's a few rivalry teams in there. You got to beat, and is that coach focused on that and how you stack up and measure? I mean, how are they looking at that? Because I think I look at that from a lot, say, okay, we got to beat X, Y, and Z this year, and we got to continue to raise that trophy we can at the end of the year.
I'll go first. I can speak on what I think, how I think she's addressing that. She's not even thinking about that. Right now, she's focused on how am I going to play? I want to be on the
Ah,
court.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's you set you have you have micro goals to get to that
Hmm.
macro goal. That
Yeah.
that championship and all that is when you're actually in rotation, a
Hmm.
piece that's being utilized, which is all they want.
Yeah.
Once you get that and you're having some success doing that, now you can think about, okay, now we gotta, you know, I mean, that's how I think she'll approach it. Her focus right now is, yeah, I want us to be competitive, I want us to be in the mix, and I want us to do this, but I also want to make sure that I am getting an opportunity and I am putting myself in position to be ready if I'm called upon. So I think that the whole what are we going to do uh, as far as the conference goes and how are we going to be successful in the conference, I'll let the coaches handle that.
Yeah.
I'll focus on giving the coach my best self. You know.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point.
Yeah. No, I mean, they met with Zoe, and just they wanted her to take a leadership role, and obviously she's transitioned from Tennessee to Georgia Tech, and so build on what she did. She had a good freshman campaign, redshirt freshman campaign there. Made the all rookie team with some, a lot of other top kids, and so hopefully, bring that over and that translates over here. That's their expectation. That was their expectation when they brought her
Mm,
in, is that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we need you playing at a high level for us to be what we need to be. And so they're predicted sixth, in the conference stack with Stanford, Louisville, Pitt, SMU, North Carolina, and then them. And all of them got a lot of returners. And so they got a
mm,
lot of new faces. They're young. Um,
Hmm.
but it's one of those things like, hey, you're a piece, and you do your part as a piece, to help elevate those around you. But everyone has to play their part, but do your part. And so,
right,
as a middle, hey, transition and always be up and be ready. Block, control the controllables.
right,
Um,
right.
so, they've done a lot of things as a team. They just recently went to Florida for a retreat where they went on a Saturday and just got back yesterday on Tuesday. So a lot of team building stuff, with a lot of the staff and ancillary staff as well. And from the videos and pictures I saw, it looks like they're having a great time and a lot of different activities that they had to do that require you working together. So I thought
Mm,
that was a really, really cool thing. And so, she's excited to play. That's
yeah,
her thing. All has ever been, I just want to play, and that'll work everything else out. And so it's kind of like when that's taken from her is when things kind of go otherwise, especially when people
Right. Right.
they use stats. When you use stats, and you tell it, tell kids that we're using stats to base this off of that, and then they have those stats, then they're scratching their heads. And I think a lot of that kids, they come from club and then they go to the next level. They're expecting you as an adult to be transparent and them the same. It's like, hey, what you tell me
Hmm.
is what I'll believe. And then when you show them
Right.
otherwise, is when they start to like, hey, it gets a little fuzzy. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
she just I mean, I know it's cliche, but it is one game at a time. It starts
Yeah.
off, they have their golden white scrimmage Friday, and then following on the 22nd, they see Auburn, so they'll be facing someone else. Then they got a tournament in Iowa where they play UNI, Iowa State, and I believe Loyola. So they're just one game at a time and trying to build on that,
Hmm.
man, and then um, improve as a team and work collectively together, and see what you have these scrimmages to figure out what you need to work on, what you're kind of good at now, and
Right.
they're seeing in practice and those type of things, and building one another up. I think personally, man, a team that when you fly under the radar, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're putting pressure on yourself, but when you're flying under the radar, no one's predicting you to be top. But
Mhm.
they've been a perennial NCAA team, so that's the expectation. But if they can get win some games in there, they I think the best they've ever done was in the Elite Eight. So you know,
Mhm.
we'll see. They got great
But
coaches, been there for a while.
mhm.
So yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
It'll
I
do
be
know,
have a
like
question
with
though,
the,
Dame.
you know,
Right.
not even talking about NIL, but we know the transfer portal and all that. People can put the Greek team together and run with it. And we saw that last year a little bit too, and we'll see that every year as
several,
well.
several. I mean,
Um,
I can name several teams that have um, kind of turned their situation around just like
mhm.
that with the use of the portal.
Right.
And I mean, it's a few years back. I mean, SMU did it when they had like 9 super seniors come in post COVID.
Hmm.
And then they've been building on that ever since. They picked up those girls that played at TAV that was at USC. And this year they picked up, Sulie Davis from SMU, I mean, from BYU to SMU.
Right.
And
Right.
they,
Right.
Gabby
Yeah, I know that
Placide, who
kid.
was in the SEC, she came
Hmm.
over from Ole Miss. Then Libero came over from South Carolina. So they're building, and I mean, that's the thing at the collegiate level. It's just like club. Like the more talent you have on the team, because we always talk about development, right? And you do have to develop your players, but if it's a hell of a lot easier when you already got high level
That's what we
talent.
got.
You know what I
We
mean?
got high
Yeah,
level
yeah,
talent
yeah,
recruits, so it
You
comes
know,
down to who. Sometimes who
it's
can best recruit
developing from the
who.
ground and the
yeah,
development where you're already
that
kind of
it's a
midway
hell of
in,
a lot
or
easier
yeah, it is.
from
It
that
is.
perspective. And so,
Yeah.
what you hope for in those situations is some of those kids get tired of watching. Because at some point, they're competitive. I mean, you can only put
Mm,
7 at a time because with the
right.
middles rotating
Right.
out. So, it just depends. Unless someone's having a bad match or something like that, subbing, it depends on the coach. So, yeah, man, I mean, the portal, I mean, Arizona State built their team, you know,
Yep, Arizona State did. They built a team last year. Who ran? Well, they had a pretty good run last year. Was uh, um, and I don't know why I flips on my. It'll come to me a team that was like the underdog that went pretty far last year. Uh, but we
and
see that and all. And by the way, I told you Dane was the volleyball guru around here, right?
Oh,
I
I
mean, he
know.
knows
I
where
know.
everybody moved to, what as well, But
Dame
just remind
is
everybody,
he's
Volleyball Dad's podcast at gmail.com. Don't forget to email your questions to us. And if you want to be on our show, like our guest host here, Mr. Bello, tells about do that as well. Hey, I want to step into your recruiting process too, because I know a lot of people are, went through June 15th or
mhm,
got sophomores coming up. They're going to be juniors. They're going to hit that same thing. But we went through the recruiting process and a couple of years back, and we know it's always changing. But some things do remain the same
and did it
about it
again.
as
And
well. It's
again.
taxing on that June 15th night. We're just bombarded with stuff. And then there are
yeah.
kids like yours who are, I'm sure, day one just had a plethora of opportunities and offers. There's still some kids that are looking. We know that too. We understand that process as well. And some that's going to choose to wait as well. And
Hmm.
we've seen that process work out very well for them too. So, Tell
right.
us a little insight you don't mind into the recruitment process because you've had to do it, a couple of times here.
Yeah, it was totally different for both. One obviously being more highly recruited than the other. I think going in the club did a really good job of preparing us for Sade's situation because we knew early on that it was going to be different because of the interest. The interest was a lot more. There were a lot more emails to kind of fill through, and there was a lot more. I don't want to say we didn't want to weed out anyone early because you never really know, you know.
Hmm.
But they did advise us that it's probably best in order to make the June 15th opening a little less chaotic. And so it felt very weird to me because we did not reply to anyone saying not interested until June 15th
Right.
or, so this was, it was a different, I was like, yeah, we making the right decision here. But as soon as June 15th hit, I was like, I'm glad we did because it was pretty busy, and I was actually out of town, so I was joining some of these calls remotely. I was just like, we got another one, we got another
Yeah.
one, we got another one. But the one thing I will say though is we were much better prepared
Yeah.
because we had done it before,
Hmm.
and so I think, I mean, her goal was to have it done before high school season starts. And we so that was the focus. So and everybody we spoke to was very they They didn't quite give a timeline, but you could tell based on how the conversation went that they didn't want you to sit on it for too long. And so
Hmm.
we
Right.
already knew. We're like, we'll field as many calls as we can within like the first week so that we can make a decision by that following week. And so that's how we kind of went through it. I mean, it was like 13 offers that we had to go through, like day
Did
one.
you look at it from a perspective of, I mean, I don't know in your recruiting process, and I know we talk about
Hmm.
Shade more than the older
Right.
Zora. Shout out to
Hmm.
Zora too, as one of my faves, obviously. Um, but did you look at? Did you are these schools you have? I know you made that conversation with them, so I'm sure maybe a couple
Hmm.
you were surprised by. Not, were you surprised by any? And then two, did you
Hmm.
visit any schools, or had you have a chance to see what their campus was like, or any other things? What kind of helped you make those, or make her make the decision? I'm assuming that I know she
Yeah.
probably made the decision, but
Right.
what were some of the things you used to filter down that 13, as you say, down to, hey, I'm going to Kansas?
Yeah, so a lot of what we were doing was looking at who's showing interest and showing interest consistently over a period. So and so you kind of narrow down your focus to that group.
Barry White, I need you to speak up a little bit. I know we on live camera. I know you love that soft tone, Magic World 2 voice, but give us a little bit more volume. Give us a little
Oh,
bit more
sorry,
volume,
sorry,
man.
sorry. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. So we essentially focused on the schools that were kind of consistent, is what it was. So because I feel like you want to go in where they really want you versus where they're just kind of considering you. And the one way you can show that you really want me is how engaged are you leading up to that time? You know,
Mhm.
are you communicating with my director, and am I seeing are we communicating through the director, and is it consistent? And so we made camp choices based on that because you can't go to every camp. I can't afford to. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, let's pick three out of the
Okay,
top, however many schools. Pick the top three that you would like to go to. And
gotcha.
so that's how we made that decision on camps. And you get a feel for the coaches at camp. And so that's kind of how we did it. Did the same thing with Zora. I think she went to two camps, maybe
Mhm.
three. And we did this 15's year before,
Mhm.
because a lot of times there's all this come to camp after June 15th, and it's like, nah, I already went to camp. So if you really
Right, right,
want me,
right,
what I
right.
mean, I'm not
You
coming
ain't get me
back.
paid this
So
camp fee for nothing.
right, right, right. So we try to do that ahead of time. That way, we're not trying to go to a whole bunch of camps come
Right.
June 15th or right up until June because there's a lot of them back to back to back before June 15th.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh
So it
yeah.
just takes
Oh yeah.
so it just takes and this is not something we came up with. This is something that just talking to people that have been through the process before we did. And I
Hmm.
did a
Hmm.
lot of that. I would talk to other parents who've been through the process. I'm like, what do you think? And yes, we did have schools that were like, well, we didn't know you were looking. And we had schools that were emailing us like the year before, like, well, we calling you on June 15th. Come next year, and they disappeared. So that happens, you know.
Right,
So
right,
it's just
right.
their situation changes, what it is they're looking for changes. So you can't really get dead set on anything. You got to stay open all the way through until you're literally
Mhm.
on the phone talking about, okay, you know, because until that happens, it's all talk. Ain't nothing
Mhm.
real till you get a call, you know. So my advice to people would just be stay in communication, you know, keep an open mind. Some kids be dead set on the school. I'm like, that can be kind of a slippery slope, you know,
Mhm.
especially if you want to go there to play volleyball. If you just want to go to a school because that's your dream school, fine, that's perfect. Just be ready that you might not go play volleyball there, you know. But if you're really dead set on playing, you got to keep your options kind of more open, you know, maybe have a select five as opposed to just, no, I'm going here. It's like, nah, man, that school might not be looking for you, volleyball wise.
Did you
So,
did you ever look at, roster composition, type of players
yes,
where other girls come from? And you looked at all
yes,
that. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
And the only reason I'm saying
yes,
that, 'cause I want to make sure parents are looking at it more than, hey, wait,
absolutely.
sit by the phone. You got to do
Yeah,
some of
no,
your
no,
homework too. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So you have to look at obviously what it is they recruit. You know,
Hmm.
at this position, are they looking at people that are my makeup first of all, and my
Hmm.
skill set? You know, and then also look at. I mean, those are two big things. Look at what that roster looks like. If you don't fit that mold, chances are, if you're not some kind of shiny toy, they're not coming for you. You know,
Hmm.
it's one of that. So we did that too. We did that too. That's also part of the process. Just looking to see, this is a school that I'm really interested in. Let me see what they look like. Let me see how
Right.
they recruit because it'll tell you. You know,
That's good. That's good as well. That is very good as well. So that's what we look at. I mean, parents, we get emails all the time about, recruiting process. And, I got one even recently about, they're talking about that situation here, whether or not the school, first year they got paid, next 3 years they don't, all the kind of dynamics around. And it really depends on the position a lot of times. As people know, certain positions are going to, get off the table first, middle pins, et cetera. We know setters, and then
right,
you get,
right,
when
right.
you liberos and you get into some of the DSs,
Hmm.
you're paying. I mean, you're playing because you love it sometimes more so, or at least so you start like that, and then you grow into it. But if you're right, kids are passionate about what they do and love what they do. They'll find a way to earn their way through the court. And like I said, that's the beauty of NIL too, and some of
Yeah.
these larger programs that have it as well. um, looking at the recruiting process, looking through both your girls, what is it that, I want to say, what would you do differently? If anything you would do differently, what would have been? If it's something that you said I would have done differently if I had a chance, and maybe not all, but is there anything that comes to mind that you would say, I would do something different if I had the chance to do it over again?
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so. And part of it is just, if I'm being completely honest, we've been blessed, you
Hmm.
know, in that we've been very open-minded from day one. We've been very, very much about, you guys, if you want to play, you got to be looking at places where you can play at and keeping your options open. And so there really wasn't any disappointment, because the way we moved was we moved according to who was looking for us
Yeah. Yeah.
versus
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to go here. So it's
Right.
that's why you can't really fall in love with anybody too quickly because it's like you got to have a
Hmm.
group. Like I'm loving this
Hmm.
five. I'm gonna see where things move, and so that's kind of how we move. So honestly, they both ended up where I feel like I love both coaches.
Hmm.
And I think both coaches just showed a lot of like just interest and a lot of you could tell they really wanted both kids. And so that's why I feel like I wouldn't change anything. In fact, given thinking about Zora's situation, right before the Rice offer, she got an offer from Howard. and he was offering 5 years back then because he's
Hmm.
like, I really wasn't looking for a setter, but I didn't want to pass up on you. And so that
Right.
was really where we were
Yep.
looking. And then Rice came along, and it's just like, dude, can't pass that up. You know,
Right.
as much as I
Right.
was loving this Howard situation, and I was already kind of mentally going there.
Yeah,
And then here comes Rice. It's like, well, you can't pass up a Rice education now.
right.
Right.
And that's
So
what
it's
you
like
start thinking. Yeah,
that's how quickly that love shifts. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, we
Yeah.
had this, but
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
this came along.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, you know. But I think
Mhm.
because the reason it's easy to make that shift is because Rice was in that group that she was already kind of, thinking about. So
right,
it's not like it's somebody that came out of left field that you had no interest in. This was already somebody in there who's like, oh, okay, okay, well, there we go.
right.
So,
Right.
yeah, so I think if you keep it open, keep a good selection of them in there based on, your interactions with them and how engaged they are with you, yeah, I think it makes the decision a little easier. It's never easy, you know, but
Mhm.
it definitely makes it easier. At least for in my experience, that's been what I think helped us to where we left the whole situation just thinking, "Ooh, I'm glad this is over." Versus, did we make the right decision? I
Mhm.
don't know. No, we were, but in both situations, just excited for it to be over and excited at where they were going to play.
Yeah. We were um kind of excited about I mean, it's interesting because I also want to see what your relationship is with the coaches and head coaches, both of you as well, because that's always an interesting dynamic because we try to step away. At least I think as parents, we try to step away and let the kids make the decisions and stuff. But you want to make sure that whoever you're leaving your child with is still
Hmm.
going to take care of them to a certain degree because they're still
Yeah,
your baby,
right.
17, 18-year-old going into college, and it's a new environment for them. It's a whole lot of just other things they got to deal with, right? And then one being independent and making decisions on their own, like you told them. But I always felt like, or at least my experience has been as well, and I even think Dame, you'll say this too, that the girls, when they made the decision, you felt it like that's really where they wanted to go or where they wanted to be because it just felt right, right? It was one of the, at least we had it. It just, I was surprised at the time because what we were looking at, but they were just in love with it. They were like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And that
Hmm.
is also the relief of like, you should, yeah, good. That's
Yeah.
where you want to be. And I think that for all these young ladies playing volleyball, and we've seen them in all different levels and different level of athleticism, they find a place eventually. They really do find a place. There's a few
Hmm.
people on, I know, wait till the last minute, and it seems like for them, but then they found a place to be. And
Right.
and that's another thing I want them to focus on. But that interaction with that coach, I don't know how much interaction I have with head coaches and stuff like that. Like I said, I have none with once I give them the kids, I'm hey, it's on you. But it's at least to comfort me to know that this is a person that speaks to what they see and envision your kid to be and where they
Hmm.
expect them to go. In particular, I'll say a bit about my college. Academically, he was very focused on her success academically.
Right.
And that's, something that I'm proud of. I mean, he basically broke down like, look, if you do everything right and I need you to do, you'll leave here with your master's degree if you get this done right.
Yeah.
And, even outside of volleyball, right? He said, you know, those are things that, you take advantage of. And looking at same scope we are, Damon says heel. I told him he can't use that in reference no more because my oldest daughter was at Madison Square Garden. They wore tennis shoes all every day.
Yeah. I was just thinking while you were talking, I was thinking about something when you said, what would you change? I don't know that I would change anything, but one thing I would say for people out there is, um, you kind of want to pay attention to the head coach's interest versus an assistant coach. And so you can't fall in love with an assistant coach showing you interest
Mm-hmm.
until the head coach has shown you some interest because ultimately that's who makes the decision.
Yes,
So
Yeah,
sir.
for us,
good point.
it was like, okay, and then not to say that head coaches don't also move because they do, but I find
Mm-hmm.
that assistants, there's more turnover there.
Oh yeah.
So,
Or they're going to another
yeah.
good job too. They're looking for another
Right,
head coaching
right,
job. Yeah.
right. Exactly, exactly. But I feel like if we're betting on who's more likely to leave first, I would probably think assistant. So I'm like, you don't want to get carried away by you want to make sure that the head coach wants you there, and is the one showing interest because they will, and they'll make it known, you know.
It's a good point. And I'm
Yeah,
glad you thought of that too, because at the end of the day, until a head coach calls you, till a head coach reaches out to you, head coach emails you back. They can go through a recruiting coordinator all day, and then but you're right. If
right.
that head coach is not picking up the phone, want to talk
Yeah,
to you,
yeah,
it's a difference. And that's why
right.
our level of engagement was directly with the head coach. It was, you know, even the assistant coach would say, "Hey, you need to go talk to the head coach because at the end of the day, he's gonna make the call on this." And like, yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
and that was the difference and stuff like that. So
yeah.
as well. Um, and then the final tidbits, man. We know we had you on here and talking a little bit about volleyball all over from high school now, and your
Yeah.
daughters, I'm sure, is going to be. And let me guess, she in that Bike magazine with strips.
Well, unfortunately, she wasn't. Because she was, well, there's a good excuse. She was at the USA volleyball training.
Oh yeah, well, of course, of
Yeah.
course, of course, of
So
course. It's
yeah.
always a good excuse. And you
Yeah.
sure they
So,
didn't pull the
yeah.
they didn't shop the proper end and all that stuff
I
they
don't
do
know
with
that that
AI
was a
now?
I don't know that that was an option. They probably could have done that. Now that I think
Yeah.
about it, they could have done that. But yeah, no, so that's why she missed that. Yeah.
No problem at all. It's
But yeah,
well. No, we're
it's good
looking for a
talking to
great
you guys,
season.
man.
We're gonna watch high school. We're gonna watch a little college,
I
y'all.
know I don't know about
Nebraska's
you, but I
ranked.
know I'll see Dame. Dame be at the games. I don't know about you, Spurs.
See you around. I'm see you around, man. We're gonna, I'm gonna come some
I
high school
trust
games.
I
And
trust that Dame will be doing his research and intel as
let me
he
tell
is
you
at a
something.
lot of high school
Dame will
games.
be in Atlanta more than you think.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
I'm
Hey,
gonna run
But
into him
yeah,
in Atlanta more than I'm gonna run into him here.
it, it,
Oh,
it's one of those things that like I mean, she's knowing your kid. I mean, like she realized she wasn't a college town kid, so that's why she picked LA in the first place, and then she had a slight detour, and then now she's in Atlanta because it's near Houston, and so and again, a Georgia Tech education,
yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a
Education, huh?
40-year
Well,
decision, so
yeah.
let me tell you
you know
something. My daughter, this young one, love her some HBCU.
I know.
She was here about 2 weeks or 2 days after summer. She's like, "Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
was
go
ready
back
to
home." Like,
go.
her mom hit the roof. Like that ain't home, you know.
That's
But
awesome, though. That's what you want.
that's what you
Wow.
want, man. But they're having a good
Yeah.
time and what we want to see. But I'm gonna switch a little bit to some just talk about D1 basketball. And I want to get your opinion on this. Well, at least Dane, this is what we just talk about volleyball. That's it, basketball, volleyball. Period.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Nebraska's ranked number one again.
yeah.
They always will.
They didn't lose anybody.
What do y'all think about that?
All right. They
I
didn't lose
mean, I
anybody.
just that and plus, I mean, it's one of those deals. How do you rank them other than first,
Yeah, I mean,
talent wise?
all that
Talent wise, because
matters
I mean,
is
they're going based off of like what they have on the court, like
yeah,
what's available, and yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't be.
yeah. I mean,
I
you got
disagree. I'm just curious how
Hmm.
they rank number one once
well,
again.
so it's a preseason poll, but again, based off of what they did last season, they only lost one
Yeah,
game.
that one
Obviously,
game. Yeah,
lost in the tournament, and so um, I mean, they're a juggernaut. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Hmm.
like the opposing team can have three high level players that can play there. They got a whole nother six that could go
On the
somewhere else.
bench.
You know what I mean? And so
right.
it's I mean, like I said, and either you just love it, and they got to because I mean,
Yeah.
and so yeah, man. I mean, until otherwise, like I said, anybody on any given night, and the probability of like we know the law of averages. The longer you go undefeated, the probability of you having a loss, later
I
on
mean,
down the
yeah,
road,
yeah,
even though
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
like they may have played A&M last year 10 times and may have won 9 out of those 10, but that one.
That
Because
one.
even that game, and they didn't play their best, it still went to 5. Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
it still went to 5. And A&M
It's
had
true.
9 seniors. Um,
Hmm.
my
Yep.
thing is what about these polls, though, like when you have teams that do lose a lot, and I guess they replenish some in the portal, but they're still highly ranked, and you got that uncertainty. And that's why I
Yeah.
say it's not consistent. Um,
Mm,
where someone will lose, like, for instance, SMU setter situation. I mean,
Hmm.
the freshman
Yeah.
that they have, she's good. I
Yeah.
remember her from Drive Nation. So she'll probably do fine. And they had a transfer come in from Kansas because the young lady from USC went to Kansas. So, I mean, all these places they play musical kids and all that other kind of stuff. And
Go kids.
um, yeah, I mean, and so it's like what they pick up. You got teams that lost 8 players in the portal and still ranked. So you
Yeah.
just it's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
The bottom half anyway. The top half, when you got Pitt bringing back what they're bringing back, and then they add Izzy Stark, who won a national championship her
Yep.
freshman year at Penn State. She's going to make them better. You can't.
Yep.
It just is. Her volleyball IQ is that high. So
Mhm.
I mean, you guys said, I mean, I studied, I watch it. I find myself
mm,
watching volleyball more than other sports,
I do
Right.
too.
obviously because of, you want to know what's going on, who's doing what, and so forth. And so,
And plus, we at this
those,
stage where we kind of know the kids now playing
yeah,
college because
yeah.
of where we've been, and now we just see them now come back. Hey, big news! Mackenzie going back to Texas and playing, also running track. Shout out to my girl Mackenzie as well. Another Shower Creek
Yeah.
Shark, by the way. Have to just mention that as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is it's an exciting time. And like I said, they kicked off last week, and then they got these big things will be coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, it's
Um,
gonna be interesting.
Excited for it, man. I
It's
wish
gonna be it's gonna be exciting
all
times for us.
y'all daughter
Yeah.
success.
Yeah, that whole class,
Yeah.
that whole class of
Everybody, which
2026.
everybody kind of
Yeah.
like in a new place starting off and doing some
Hmm.
new things. So I think it'd be
I'm
fun, but you're right. It's all about this trying to, we preference outdoors say, hey, at the end of the day, try to, work your way on the court, and remember, and I want you to say, like Dame, like you said, don't think because you're a freshman, you can't push the other people to be
True.
better. But,
True.
we also trying to just manage it, it's a new environment for them, but we want them to be well. And, I look at the Saturday in Kentucky. I went to Skyline.
Mhm.
Beginning we just thought she might be a service specialist, etc.
But
That
she
quickly
started off as one.
changed,
She started off
huh?
as one.
You
She
know what I'm
did start off
saying?
as one, and
And
that
it
changed
changed,
real quick.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just never know. It's a long
Yeah.
season. Injuries sometimes playing stuff. We hate to see that and stuff like that, but we see it at every level of sports, right? So
Hmm.
always
we'll
be
see what
ready.
happens. Always be ready.
Show up to practice. If you get through these 2 days and you're competing, because again, your teammates are going through the same thing you're going through. So that
Hmm.
whole I'm tired, so are they. You know
So
what I
are
mean?
they.
So
Hey, trust me, so are they.
this is what's going to
Yeah.
separate, good from great, or those who want it and who don't want it. Like you can always find justifiable excuses, and humans we have the propensity to do that all the time.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But I
And the
never
good
forget,
thing too is, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. But separate yourself. What happens is, you think about all the times that you miss going places and doing stuff that you want to do. Like Femi said earlier, about certain vacations and stuff like that. And you'll find a way to squeeze some
Yeah,
stuff in. But you did all that to get to this point.
to get to this
Hmm.
point,
Hmm.
to
So
be in that
now
gym.
ain't time to rest. I mean,
No.
Yeah,
you'll throw some stuff out there and they'll vent to you a little bit, but then you say, all right, now, hey,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it really boils down to. And then that adrenaline from actually getting in there and then playing someone else. And so you want to have like-minded people around you. So that's why it's good that these teams you want to have these coaches that are builders, right? That bring people together and create the culture because they're all collectively creating a culture, and that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, look, man, I played for a coach that I mean, it was just so obvious how he made differences and stuff like that, and how it made other people feel. And when you're thinking about 19 and 18, 19 and 20-year-olds that are very
Yeah.
impressionable, that can go either way, depending on how strong their foundation was and so forth. And then
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they'll truly do, what's best for them. So, man, these are exciting times. It goes by fast. I mean, look, I mean, technically, a lot of these girls you're talking about, they're already juniors.
I know
Yeah.
they are literally
Yeah.
juniors and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, and we're seeing a lot of people do places
Hmm.
and as well. And so it's going to be good. It's going to be fun and it's going to be a good experience. So we're going to watch a lot of volleyball this season, at all levels, etc. And so you parents out there, once again, appreciate y'all always tuning in with us and following us as well. We promise we'll be better. We're going to get back on the rhythm now to have our podcast to you at least weekly and stuff. So we're gonna make that commitment. We just had to take a hiatus over the summer. Just a lot going on. You're right. Blame it more on me with a graduate and going to summer school and all that. So I was just running around a lot. But we're back. And we're back with great dads like Mr. Bello here. Like I said, shout out to Sade at Kansas, going to Kansas, and shout out to Zora, who's over at Rice as well. Good luck, Dame. Tell Zoe the same at Georgia Tech. And y'all watch out for them Rattlers, boy, because they coming with my little Monet. But
Hey, man,
anyway,
y'all, interesting. I was thinking like last year when Rice was in the tournament playing Florida, man, they were making moves until Larissa went down in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
so and that's the thing, like how players, make a difference.
yep.
And I mean, if everybody can lock in, like I said, I tell my daughter all the time, man, those girls well, she don't care about the people on the other side of the net anyway, but she tell them all the time, like those people put their pants on one leg at a time, just like we do, And
So
so it's just
true.
like,
So
put
true.
in the work. So it's like no reason to be scared. It's volleyball. You've been playing for however many years, so
Gonna be what it's gonna be,
it's gonna be
and
what it's gonna
sometimes
be.
it's
And
gonna
so
play,
I,
and they're good players on inside that too. I tell them, I say, hey, they come to shine as much as we do. We just come and play. We see what happens as well. So we
so
get it done.
often
They're gonna get
people
it done.
psych themselves out before they even
Yep.
play. Um,
Yep.
I can promise you that you can take a many of kids and you can plug and play, and the record will still be the same. You take a piece out, put a piece there, and so forth. Like there will be no drop off. From knowing the sport and watching the sport, it's just these people have stockpile talent. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the biggest difference in a lot of these places. They stockpile, but then you got to keep them all happy. I mean, a few years back, I mean, like a lot of the Texas kids, they went to different places. The one girl's at Florida, Jordan Bird doing well. Singletary's out of UCLA. So I mean, man, it happens, man. I mean, some of the kids, I
It
mean,
happens.
if they don't want to wait too long or other reasons whatsoever, then they'll find another home for themselves. But I'm excited for it, man. It
There we
gets
go.
gets me pumped,
Yeah,
man. And
it's gonna be a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
year, and we appreciate it.
Exciting times.
Y'all tune in to
All right.
Volleyball Dads Podcast at gmail.com. Catch us on X at Vball Dads. We're gonna drop this and here next week. And y'all be
YouTube,
watching us with volleyball. We'll be talking a little bit about. We're gonna get talk a little bit about NIL because I know a lot of parents ask about NIL and transfer portal. We'll have a little conversation about that too. Enjoy your high school season. All those good things. And once again, appreciate y'all always signing on and tune in. And you have a complaint or comment, send to Dane. Otherwise, the opinions of our guests are just of our guests. With that
oh
said,
man,
we out, dog.
oh man.
Appreciate y'all, fellas.
Nah, man. Appreciate